Welcome back to the Breakroom, everybody. It's Tuesday. We're thrilled to have you here.
Just check in on the day.
Yeah, so they blur together.
It's been a weird one.
This is the daily nerdy news show that keeps you up to date on what you need to know. And this is March Madness, baby. We are going mad here with a bracket of the best villains of all time. We're gonna have so much fun. We've got some hot takes cooking. We've got some evil a-brewing. Free. And we're gonna find out, where does he get those wonderful toys?
I don't know that quote.
Kick him out. Just
Where
kick him
does he
out.
get those wonderful toys?
And we might get to headlines, or we might not. You know what? If you want to guarantee we get to some headlines, drop a $50 super chat. And I will deliver headlines.
Zach,
for you.
what's going on today?
We're turned up, guys.
Zach is the captain.
It's a
We did
rainy.
get a new cappuccino machine in the office
And
today.
I drank an espresso in a normal coffee shot, so I'm wired.
It's a rainy day here in Ottawa, so we gotta turn it up a little bit. And joining me in this villainous bracket, I've got sometimes off-screen, sometimes on-screen, producer John.
Welcome to our show.
Yes.
We should have done villain quotes, and I don't know what that was.
Oh, I'll think
That's
about
my
it.
fault.
Well, Brandon has the most time to think of one, because up next we've also got the always on-screen Jessica Clemons.
That's not my daughter, Emperor Palpatine.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, Brandon Barrick.
I am not a crook.
Real life villain.
That's not a villain.
Richard Nixon
He's
isn't
a
the
hero
greatest
of
villain of all
America.
time.
Ronald Reagan.
Hero of America, fixed our economy.
Richard Nixon did create the EPA. We got to credit him with
Okay.
that.
He did do a lot of racist things.
Thank you,
All right.
Nixon.
And he had the dignity to resign. Okay,
We are not
Shots
awarding
fired.
the bad behavior of Richard Nixon.
speaking of dignity, you know where there won't be a lot of dignity this
Where?
Friday at
Where?
2:30 p.m.? WonderCon,
All
baby.
the way from Ottawa, we're flying to Anaheim.
That's right. All of us and Eric Voss, Tommy Bechtold, a couple other maybe familiar faces from the new Rockstars crew are going to be at WonderCon this Friday. We're doing
You
a
said
panel.
all of us.
Yeah, I said all of us.
Oh, I thought you just meant like, okay, keep going.
What about me?
You said Tommy, Eric, and I was like, I'm
He
going.
didn't say any of that.
Okay, guys, not in front of the kids. Okay, we're going to be doing a panel 2:30 on Friday, room 213 AB. But you can also look that up on the WonderCon website.
Remember it.
We've got a lot of
Commit it to memory.
fun stuff planned. It's gonna be really fun. Also, if you come out, we guarantee we'll take a picture with anybody. Jessica's committed to leaving voicemails on people's.
I didn't say that. I said I was going to sign babies.
Oh yes. If you bring a baby
Find a baby.
and a baby safe marker, and your baby will get signed.
And he's in the Sharpie.
So, in honor of being March Madness, of course, the NCAA basketball tournament, both men's and women's, are going on right now. And
Gonzaga.
No.
and so we are doing our own little tournament.
That's right.
Multiple tournaments yesterday. You guys
Yeah.
did best origin
Best
story.
origin story, best comic book origin story. We had Into the Spider-Verse as our winner. It was a close call between that and Iron Man 1. That was difficult. But I think we picked the right movie.
Yeah.
It was tough. I slept on it. I feel okay about it.
We found out what
okay
side
about
of the
it.
Civil War Brandon's on. It took
The,
a lot
the
of...
winning side.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
The good side.
There was a lot that came out yesterday
yeah,
that I need to
it was an
apologize
exciting
for.
episode.
But today we're upping the stakes.
Yeah,
That's right.
We're talking about the best film villains of all time.
In our space. you
In our
know?
space,
Yeah. There's some people that we couldn't include. The Hannibal Lecters. The
Nurse Ratched.
The Nurse
Oh,
Ratched.
Mike Myers.
number
Yeah,
one
some of those,
villain.
Yeah.
the Xenomorph we couldn't get on this list. And then we did we sort of designed this to be property, we have some quadrants of properties. So we didn't get into the sixth best villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or anything like that. We only had 4 from each group.
So our 4 regions, each with 4 candidates: DC, Marvel Studios, Star Wars, and then a miscellaneous category that does have some pretty big, what we think are great pop culture villains.
Yeah.
And we're going to be going one kind of quadrant at a time to get down to our final 4 and then our championship round, right?
That's right.
Yeah, let's go.
Do you want to start?
Okay, first round, we're starting with DC, okay? Yes,
Here we
there
go.
it is. Ooh, look at that.
Hey,
There's a blank.
Evan, that blank should be Palpatine. If we could fill
Over in
that
the
in
Star
whenever
Wars
you have a
one.
second.
Don't you mean Palpatine?
Actually, you know what, John? Maybe that blank is you, the Star
no.
Wars fan.
I am a villain.
Somehow Palpatine will be added to the bracket.
So we're starting here with DC, and again, these are just film villains. And anytime there was multiple portrayals of a particular villain, we will be stating which portrayal. It's not all Jokers. It's a very specific Joker. And so our first matchup, Joker and Lex Luthor. This is the Heath Ledger Joker, #1 seed in my book.
Yeah.
And the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor from the Christopher Reeves Superman movie.
Okay. I will say Lex Luthor in the new Harley Quinn series created a cancer ray. So that's why I would have chosen Lex Luthor. But if we're choosing Joker that literally blew up a hospital,
yes.
like that, this one's that burned a bunch of money, didn't
You know,
need
you
it.
could say he saved a lot of people from cancer.
Wow.
Oh, John.
Get off.
Euthanasia
right
does
now.
not count
Get off
as
there right
saving.
now. John,
And I
Oh my
believe
God,
this is the only, actually, a different Joker portrayal has also won an Oscar.
Yeah.
But this was
The
the
hero
first.
of that movie, though, you'd say, right?
Yes, this was the first comic book Oscar win.
Also,
That's
Lex
how-
Luthor with some curly hair. You gotta appreciate that for old Gene Hackman. Before he bald.
So
and all the
he
way.
wins because of the hair.
Well, here's the deal. If we were going to like villains, full stop, I would lean Lex Luthor over
easy.
Joker, just because I feel like Joker doesn't get the job done a lot of the time.
What?
Comparing the
I think
movies.
if this is specific performances,
Yeah.
I think you gotta go Heath Ledger and Joker
Yeah.
over Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
Come
I don't
on.
think there's much
Come
of an argument
on.
here. You should just kind of
I mean,
put it in.
it's been over 40 years. A lot has changed in film, superhero film. It's tough for a performance to have aged super
Sure.
well over
Right.
40
When
years.
the new Lex Luthor comes up and the new DC stuff, then we will choose him.
Yes.
But we've got more Joker.
Okay, so it's unanimous. We're going Heath Ledger, Joker,
Yeah,
I'm sure
advancing.
the chat said
That's
the
fair.
same
I
thing.
think that's
Okay,
fair.
yes. Maybe there's some Hackman stands. Some Stackmans.
I love Lex.
He got out
Luthor.
the game. He retired.
I know, still alive though. Knock on wood.
Oh,
Please.
Gene died during
Please
the middle of this tape.
protect Gene Hackman at
Gene.
all costs. Okay,
Please.
the second half of our DC bracket: Bane, Tom Hardy. Brandon, can we get a little Bane voice?
Oh, I'm giving you your city back.
Pretty bad.
Very good.
And
Very
then how
good.
did
No,
that
no,
go?
no, it's great.
Do the penguin. Do Danny DeVito penguin.
Oh God, what am I looking at? What are you showing me?
Where you heard it when he was doing the bit and he was like, I don't think he actually says this in the
No,
movie.
he doesn't.
I don't know.
He doesn't, but it would be better if he did.
So
Sorry, keep
we're
going,
doing
Zach.
the Tom Hardy Bane versus the Danny DeVito Penguin. We
boo.
love
knows?
the Colin Farrell Penguin.
I love that.
We had the Colin Farrell penguin on this list
Yeah.
for a little while, but then we kind of
not
determined
really
he's
a
not
villain
really
in
the
that movie.
villain.
Yeah, he didn't get enough to do in
He's
the
a
movie.
criminal according to the
Yeah.
eyes of the law.
Maybe in the second, the Batman,
Yeah.
he'll be the main villain.
Yeah.
I mean, ironically, both these characters a little sidelined. I mean, Bane obviously plays a huge part in Dark Knight Rises, but one could argue Talia al Ghul is the real villain of that
shadows,
movie.
sure,
so-
yeah.
100%. But we see, I guess, it's been a really long time since I've seen Danny DeVito's the Penguin, to be fair.
I mean-
But I'm like, Bane, we saw kill a lot of people.
Danny DeVito's the Penguin. I'm a young man, but born in 2002. But if I was older and I had been born at a different time, I would have, as a child, be so scared.
I
Danny
mean,
DeVito.
he straight up
That's
eats
true.
fish.
Yeah.
Like uncooked,
So
raw,
does John.
whole fish.
He arms a bunch of penguins with missiles on their back.
That's
he
pretty
steals
sick.
children.
He bites a man's nose off.
He uses
pretty
clowns
villainy.
to steal children. I mean, just the terror.
I'm leaning penguin.
I
think like
all
the
in on
hype
Penguin.
of Bane was not paid off for
Okay.
me when that movie came out.
Now,
And you can't hear half of his dialogue.
yeah. And someone pointed out, Bane was smart enough to get all the cops in Gotham stuck underground, which is very smart. And someone on our staff pointed out,
were
maybe
they
that makes
pooping?
him the good guy. I don't know.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah, we
shit.
would never say that.
I don't know.
Brandon, what side of the Civil War are you on?
So actually, this sounds pretty close. It
All
sounds like
cops are
we're
Bane.
a
I
little split.
I like what you said about all the things that the Penguin did because these are best villains, so they have to do villainy things, and that is a
Right.
very villainy thing. Even if it was like his whole motive was like, I'm gonna blow up the moon, it's like, well, that's a very good villain.
Yes.
Love the movie.
I would give it to Penguin on this.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Let's
I-
advance penguin.
Absolutely.
No, it's fine.
I mean,
I'll shake it.
Bane
that
is
way.
more memeable, but Penguin, come on.
Also, of all the villains that have gotten some kind of returns lately, all the Spider-Man villains and things like that, we could do with some Danny DeVito putting on the
Now,
old
I
nose
think-
again,
Back.
you know?
Bring him back.
I think he died. Doesn't all the Batman villains pretty much die? Don't they often
those old
die?
movies-
No Way Home.
Yeah.
Oswald Cobblepot, I'm pretty sure. Throw in the chat. Does Oswald Cobblepot die at the end of Batman Returns?
I'm pretty sure he does die. He like falls into the water at the zoo or something. I don't remember.
Sounds right.
That's what killed him. He's a penguin and he drowned.
I'm just now realizing Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was in that same movie.
Yeah.
Did we make a mistake? Did we pick the wrong villain?
I don't think she's the villain in that film.
Isn't a villain. Yeah. And which kind of goes into our second one.
Ooh, the chat was a little split, but they did pick Bane. Too bad.
Pretty close though. Again, this is the 7-10 matchup here.
You know what doesn't matter? They're both going to get destroyed by Heath Ledger's Joker in the next round anyway.
That's right. Clear out.
Hey, we're going to move on to Star Wars. We're crossing the bracket. Sorry, I thought we'd go down the line.
I did a segue that was like, speaking of that actually brings us to our next hero villain. No, I think yours still count as hero villains.
Okay, this is a heavy hitter. Again, a 1 seed against a 16-seeder or whatever.
This is
Darth Vader. Gonna be tough to beat against Moff Gideon, who I really love as a villain. He's great. He hasn't been in maybe too many episodes of The Mandalorian. I think maybe over the next few seasons he could really kind of grow.
I'm also now realizing, John, didn't we specifically state this was film villains?
You're right. I did say no TV villains, and I broke my own rule. You want to put Snoke in here instead?
Yes. Can I say also, I think we should go with Vader regardless, but like, remember what he did. Oh, well, I guess it was a series. I was like, remember what he did in Kenobi when he just walked past the innocent people and broke their necks and kept walking. Vader. Yeah. I'm like, this man is just ruthless. We gotta.
He's a bad guy.
He's a villain.
Yes. He's a bad guy. I think the chat's probably 100%.
I mean, you gotta go Vader.
You gotta go Vader.
Here's what I'll say about Vader.
Go ahead.
Snoke was every voice inside of Kylo Ren's head. So was he really that much of a bad guy? He also gets redeemed at the end.
No, I don't think it's so. Well, but he killed so many innocents. Once you do that,
you don't have Anakin Skywalker on this since you have Darth Vader. Darth Vader dies.
Iconic. I mean, there's no more iconic villain.
He shouldn't even be on this bracket. He's too good.
Could you put Vader and Kylo Ren?
Well, we'll get to Kylo Ren. We have a second bracket that we're going to do at the back half of the show, and Kylo Ren's on that.
Let's go ahead and tease that, John.
Yeah.
So we want people to stick around. That bracket that you've seen earlier, this is not the only villain bracket we're going to be going through. Should we tell them what the second bracket is, or make them stick around? We're going to be doing a separate bracket for the most underused villains of all time.
Rotten.
Yeah, people who had a lot of promise and didn't necessarily shake out the way we wanted them to.
Good villain, bad movie.
Sure.
Maybe didn't get the storyline they deserve.
Set up really well and didn't get paid off. Maybe killed too early. We don't know.
Yes.
Killed too late.
All right, the next part of the Star Wars bracket.
95-5 Vader.
Ooh, barely.
And it's only the 5% are just people trolling.
Yeah, probably.
That's insane. That might have been the most out.
That might be Giancarlo Esposito watching the show.
Come on the show, Giancarlo.
Hey, Darth Maul, fan favorite, popular dude, got some great moves. Emperor Palpatine. It's another kind of stacked.
Oh, I love both of them.
It's another kind of stacked.
You got
thing.
Palpatine ran both sides of a war.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good. For profit.
But
smart guy.
I gotta say, just for impact. Now, if you don't count his little cameo in Solo, and you don't count any of his animated appearances, Darth Maul was a one-hitter. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Came in hard, and one movie,
two lightsabers, double-sided lightsabers.
If people are watching the Clone Wars at home, they might pick Maul.
No, that's the thing. He's weak, though, in Clone Wars, and he goes so fast. It literally, Kenobi beats him over and over again, and then he finally just succumbs in the desert alone. And he goes to Kenobi and is like, look at you, a rat in the desert. And he's the one that dies. That's why I'm like, Emperor Palpatine, he dies, but he also comes back. Yeah. And it's like, what kind of villain dies just and disappears? It's like, no, he comes back.
Now, and we do have to take these villains in their totality. So you have to take Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine into consideration.
I'll take him.
Here.
Of course.
I just wanted to point that out.
He's a genius.
Also,
flying around on that weird gimbal.
Well, and I think Mandalorian is showing us that you need a strong, heavy-handed empire to run a galaxy.
Yeah.
I love Darth
Don't you
Maul.
dare.
I think it's what it's showing us.
Don't you get fashy on this panel.
Also, physicality, it's like, they both look like very big villains, but when Darth Maul eventually turns into kind of like a Spider-Man person, or not Spider-Man, but he has like spider legs. He gets changed to a spider. He looks like an evil villain, but Emperor Palpatine is just disgusting.
He kind of gets almost spidery legs, or like definitely mechanical body parts there in
Who looks the most
Rise of Skywalker. I do think, though I stand for Maul, and I mean, that face paint, talk about iconic. But I think you got to go Palpatine.
You gotta go
probably.
Palpatine. The
Plus-
fact that you could shoot lightning out of your hands and then age 55 years is pretty cool.
Plus, what are we setting up? What's the next round that we're setting up?
It's gonna be a
Vader versus Palpatine.
That's
That
hard.
one's gonna be a
That's
discussion.
hard.
I know what Brandon's gonna go, but that's gonna be a discussion. That's gonna be a discussion.
You'll see.
That's a closer chat vote than I was expecting. 58% said Emperor Palpatine. 41 said Darth Maul. A lot of people's childhoods
That's
are
right.
wrapped up in
I
Darth
love
Maul.
Darth Maul.
Revisionist history.
And like, didn't we all want to be in that lightsaber duel at the
I
end
mean,
there?
you know what inspired Lightsaber Boy? You know,
Yeah.
it was
called Duel
It's
of the
hard
Fates.
because it's also it
Best
comes.
Star Wars track?
It's not Duel of the Fates.
Imperial. I think it might be.
I think it also comes down to just like it does come down to numbers, you guys. Well, and Emperor Palpatine has killed way more people than Darth Maul
That's
has.
right.
And you know who else killed a lot more people than maybe they did? Actually, maybe not. They could have. Our next segment, which is the Marvel Studios one,
Yeah,
in which
okay. Here
we're
we go.
choosing between a hero and villain story of Killmonger or Wanda Maximoff.
And this is MCU only. We're gonna get into
This
some
is-
other Marvel folks in a minute.
Yeah, so between Killmonger and Wanda, who we arguably, even we defended yesterday when we were talking about Black Panther, are villain and heroes. I want to start with Brandon's take because I kind of want to hear what Brandon's got to say about
I
it.
mean, I gotta lean Wanda on this one. Like, she's a capital V villain, and like all these people trying to make her good, don't make her good. She's bad, and she's got a reason to be bad because everyone's lying to her, and she knows. She saw her kids, and everyone's like, "Wanda, you're crazy." She saw her kids, no one's listening to her, and she's gonna get her way. She's a good villain. She's learning on the fly and really outperforming. You know
I'm
what I
gonna
mean?
I'm gonna devil's advocate and go the opposite direction.
All right.
Ooh.
I think in the totality of screen time, the Lizzie, as her friends
How
call her,
dare you?
Call
How
her
been
Terry,
given-
You're not her friend.
she has spent far more time as a full-blown hero
That is
than she
true.
has as a villain.
I would disagree.
No, think of
Finish your point.
all Endgame, Infinity War, Age of Ultron, all that stuff. I mean, well, like the beginning of Age of Ultron, obviously not, but she spent more time as a hero. And again, I think I'm leaning more into these like one film powerhouses like Killmonger, who, yeah, of course, he has his reasoning, and he's kind of like there's some kind of redemption at the end. I mean, best final line of one of the all-time best final lines of any villain in any movie, right?
I mean, he's incredible.
You know, bury me in the water. Whoa,
What were you going to say, John?
You know, well, first of all, I think the runtime of Multiverse of Madness and WandaVision is maybe more than the runtime. Endgame's a long movie, but
Yeah.
you know,
She's a villain for most of WandaVision.
I think she's a villain in WandaVision.
Yeah.
I
You
think
don't know that at
that's
the time. You don't know
I
it at
think-
the time,
and I
though.
really, truly think, like, apart from, like, maybe you say Thanos, like, that's one of the most villainous things we've seen any character in Marvel do. She kidnapped an entire town and manipulated all of them and tortured them
and
internally.
To us, that was fake Reed Richards and fake, but to them, it was not. You know?
Yeah, I think
She had no remorse. And I think, like, you know, Killmonger, you could almost sit there and say, like, I understand entirely where he's coming from, and I might agree with him on a lot of points.
I think that's what John. I think that's a big thing for John, and big thing for it is the motive of making you a villain. And it's like they're both a little justified. Take that with a grain of salt. A little justified, but Wanda's justification is like in losing kids that don't exist.
They do exist.
Okay.
She's seen them.
She's
They
seen
exist
them.
in every
Okay,
other
so
reality.
she's willing to kill everyone for two, and I'm like,
That's a good mom.
that's
the
also a
last
villain.
one.
That's a good
That's
mom.
Emperor Palpatine.
That's she's Joel.
So
That's a good mom.
So, but versus Killmonger, it's like who would be the most villainous? He
I
was just
can't
trying to
believe-
bring
Whoa.
resources.
I
to
can't
the
believe
people.
we're about
Look,
to move Wanda
look,
on.
look
but I
at this
think-
chat.
Wanda. I think it's
54,
I really
45,
thought, I really
Wanda.
thought Killmonger was going to make it close to the end, but I think
No,
we
I think
have
it's
to move
Wanda.
Wanda
Gotta
on.
go
I think it's
Wanda.
Wanda.
I think
Gotta go Wanda.
I get another.
I'll concede.
okay.
I'll concede Wanda, but I will say I think she's getting the benefit of the doubt because Killmonger's not spent any time as a hero. She spent some time as a hero, so like we have this goodwill towards her.
Also, what if Killmonger was
does-
clearly a different motive?
And does her, well, that's true. Does her time spent as a hero make her heel turn to villain more impactful, right? Is that
I mean,
why?
she's one of the few people that's had literally the full circle.
She
Started
wants
villain,
to be good, but
come
then
back to
keep
villain.
lying to her.
Okay, also not to be a devil's advocate, but to the people, the innocent people in that country that she killed a bunch of, they're probably
Sokovia?
like, she's the, not even in
At
Sokovia,
Lagos?
remember at the beginning when she blew
Lagos.
up the building?
Yes.
It's like, we made the Sokovia Accords because of her. So I'm not, hey, I love her. I love Wanda.Got her
Right.
tattooed. But I'm
Plus
missing.
all of the fruit in that orchard in Multiverse of Madness.
That's right. She rotted. That's
How dare she? Resources.
I
You
know.
know at
Zach's
least
biggest
one
problem.
person in Westview on the outskirts of her little hex who's like having to go through the motions that she's controlling, has a peanut allergy, and she's not thinking about that. And she's like, everyone a couple miles away, they're just eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and some poor guy's
To
like,
counter
"Ah."
that,
Are you saying that Darkhold magic doesn't instantly cure
Cure
peanut
your
allergy?
I am saying
to counter that argument, there was a couple in Westview that was going through a nasty divorce, but decided to stay together because there are more things in life than
she fixed their
She
relationship.
brought some people closer together.
Okay, our next one, so we have time to go to the others, is maybe a little easier one. Kang and Thanos.
You think
Kang
Kang could
Thanos.
maybe pull this off in 2 or 3 years?
That's right.
Yes.
He's
Too
building
early.
for
It's
it.
too early.
It's too
He's
early,
building
but
for
it
it.
also is like, we saw what he did in Quantumania. We don't know if it
He
was
was
other
great,
Kangs,
and
but
to
he
be
killed a
honest-
bunch of innocent people from other planets.
He's good as hell in Quantumania.
Yeah,
You
and
could-
he's
you could
definitely
sit there
he's
and-
definitely on the
Such a
come
good
up.
villain.
We might not be seeing any more Thanos, at least for a long
Right.
time, right?
Do you
So-
think that the motive with Thanos makes Kang more of a villain? Because Kang is just literally like, I want to take over everything. And Thanos is like, I'm trying to restructure and make the world a better place. I know he's in a bad position of doing it. I'm not a Thanos sympathizer.
I mean, you could say Thanos did nothing wrong. You could also say, dude, just
Thanos was right.
make more fruit or whatever and feed people. Who gives a
no,
shit?
100.
Good point.
100.
Good point.
We need
and I think
apartments and sustainable, walkable cities.
At the end of the day, I think anybody on this panel or in any panel is going to say like Endgame's in one of their top favorite comic book movies. I don't know that Quantumania has cracked a lot of people's top 5 yet.
Sure.
Maybe we'll reassess in time, but and a big part of that is Thanos, right?
Yeah, and we'll be getting to that question of best
wait,
comic book
are we-
zy on Thursday.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Ooh, good
I
tease,
still,
Jen.
I'm voting Kang.
Whoa!
I thought we were voting
There's a
Kang. I'm
song.
so sorry. Until I saw you write Thanos. That's why I was like, oh, maybe we should deliberate.
I gotta go. I gotta go Thanos.
I think right now you go Thanos.
Thanos?
Kang I'm liking. He's got a lot of promise. Can't
Okay.
wait to see what he does next season.
I mean, we got Thanos on a mug.
Yeah.
know?
I mean, Kang
We would
is
get
getting there, and
Kang.
we've seen a lot of range from Kang. A lot of different looks, a lot of different attitudes.
He's young. He's rookie of the
Yeah,
year
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, but I do appreciate Thanos' his work ethic. He sticks to his plan.
Stop.
He
You're
sees it through to the
so
end.
Also,
problematic.
some of the best memes of all
Very
time.
memeable.
This meme was great. I mean, the
Hey.
the flex in the butt cheeks is.
It's not
great
fair
too.
because Kang is so hot, he doesn't get to get named yet. If he wasn't so goddamn fun.
Ooh, it is closer in the chat than I would have guessed. 63-36
People
for
can see
Thanos.
Kang coming, and I really think that
Sorry, I'm like taking this so
if we did this again in 3 years when Secret Wars is out, we might have a harder.
I mean, maybe some recency
Conversation.
bias too.
Yeah, sure,
2019 has
sure.
been a long time
And
ago.
Thanos technically was able to snap and kill half the population while Kang hasn't gotten to do that yet.
You know what?
Not
That-
until King Dynasty.
That bitch is dead.
And then what?
my
And then
God.
after Secret War, you guys will be saying Kang.
Oh
You'll
my
be saying
God.
Kang.
Well, let's jump over to the miscellaneous region, where we've got an exciting lineup of some other Marvel villains you might know. He's got 4 metal arms, 2 human arms, 2 human legs, a mouth and a butthole. It's Dr.
Whoa.
Octavius.
Butthole
Okay.
confirmed?
Butthole confirmed on Doc
And
Ock.
this is not Into the Spider-Verse Doc
This is
Ock.
not.
This is
We're
Tobey
going-
Maguire.
this is Alfred
Spider-Man
Molina?
2, Alfred Molina.
Alfred
I thought
Molina,
you were gonna
Doc
say,
Ock.
and we're not talking about his butthole.
We're
talking
not.
about
We're not. We're not taking
talking about his
buttholes into
butthole all I want.
consideration
Stop
here.
it.
Yeah, we're talking
You
Doc
think
Ock
his
from
butthole has 4 little arms?
Spider-Man 2.
Hey, Thanos because he Thanos, okay?
Doc Ock from
Mouth.
Spider-Man 2, also featured in
love
Spider-Man
him.
No
I
Way
love
Home.
him.
He was
I
the
love
first
him.
one to break
right.
good in that movie. A man of pure intentions, where a computer chip fucked up his brain. He's not doing anything wrong. He's
right.
got a way out.
You're right.
Now another
And then
guy,
you redeem. Yeah, at the end, that's true.
another villain I think we can all agree with, Magneto.
Ooh.
I don't know
Okay.
about all agree
I
with.
think this matchup is going to
Ooh,
be tight.
that's a hard
I think.
one.
Eric
Really?
Lencher, by another name, you might know him.
And this is the Ian McKellen
we're going
depiction.
Ian McKellen,
Yes.
Magnetus here, okay?
Sorry,
This is hard.
Michael Fassbender.
He wanted to make the whole world mutants, baby, so everyone could just get along.
Yeah, this is like a Killmonger situation where it's like we understand his motive and we understand why he's doing it, Magneto. Whereas Doc Ock was brainwashed. So are we choosing brainwashing
You're right.
over?
Do you choose the genocidal
Yeah.
maniac or the guy who was just like, I don't know, I want to solve.
I
I want to solve.
I want
their
the power of
environmental
the
crisis.
sun in my hand. Like
Well,
that's
he was
a
just
little.
trying to save the world.
That's a little. Yeah, so he says. So he says. We're
I
gonna take him at
think
his word.
I think it might be.
Elon Musk out there saying he's trying to save the
You
world.
know,
You
I
take
was,
him at his
I was
word.
putting this together
Well,
and I
actually-
was like, "There's no shot Doc Ock doesn't win this matchup," and now I'm sitting here.
No,
and I'm like,
I think
think.
Magneto.
I think
Magneto.
you got to
Maybe
put
Magneto.
Magneto through, dude.
Also,
I think you might.
Also, of all the villains, had one of the best squads.
Oh yeah,
multiple
Brother
iterations
Squad.
of squads, right? Like not just nameless goons and foot soldiers, right? Vader. I'm talking about like Sabretooth, Mystique, right? Like cool, great
That's true.
characters, you know?
I
And then the
love
last
that.
stand happened, and they gave him bad people.
And then he had nameless.
Whoa, the chat going heavy,
Oh, you gotta go heavy.
That
Magneto.
surprises me.
I
Well,
started.
also Age of Chat. I don't know. I wonder if they're a little bit more
No.
X-Men era
Agents
than
of Chat
Toby.
is a great show, and I love what they do. And I think you could also say, if you read the comics, you'll agree with this. Magneto was right. Okay.
No,
Magneto
that's
was
the
right.
reason why it's so hard to choose. But I think ultimately we need to base this off of villainy activities and villainy things and not origins. Because I'm like, well, I understand why he did it. Same with Killmonger, but Killmonger was still technically the antagonist.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Okay, we're moving Magneto on. You keep
And now in our next matchup, this is a wild one, folks. Strap on your boots. We got the Green Goblin. We're going with Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, I take
Yes.
it?
Yes,
Yeah, easy.
of course.
Not the Amazing Spider-Man
Yeah,
Green
yeah,
Goblin.
yeah, no, so- and not Spider-Man 3 Green Goblin either. Or
Yeah.
was he technically a Green Goblin in that
He
movie?
was,
James
he was
Franco?
Green Goblin
yeah,
too.
James Franco.
Second
Yeah.
reiteration. Now coming in off the bubble, guys. No one saw this happening,
I really like this villain.
and because
It's my fault.
John made the bracket and got in, I don't know how else to say it. Syndrome.
One of the most underrated superhero movies of all time. Maybe it's not, but
I
we
think
don't
it was
talk
very
about
well rated.
We don't talk about it. The Incredibles, what a great movie.
Right.
And Syndrome
Oh,
is...
I'm such an idiot. I was
So you
thinking
don't
of
know
Jake
who it was?
Gyllenhaal's character. Oh, keep going.
Mysterio?
Right. No, John is
Oh,
on. John
Mysterio's
is
cool.
John is actually telling the truth.
Syndrome, great villain.
literally killed every other hero. When it starts going through the Rolodex of who's deceased, he killed every hero except for the Incredibles. That's insane. All because of one superhero telling him that he couldn't be a superhero. That is evil villainy brain.
And
I'm stuck on this. You're right.
Part of being a great villain is being a good foil for your protagonist, and I think that like the relationship between Mr.
right.
Incredible and Syndrome is like so good.
He created-
Their
Also-
history,
also
he
that-
created
In a
him.
Batman-esque way, he created his own villain.
And that movie and that villain kind of presaged some of like fandom turning toxic, and
absolutely.
that
He
theme that is bubbled up.
And I
Everyone
really
in
think
that
that The
universe.
Incredibles was sort of the genesis. People talk about, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man being the genesis for this kind of renaissance of superhero movies, but like I don't think we give enough
Yes.
credit to The Incredibles.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
everyone
Like,
agrees.
that's the,
Now,
fir-
we
that's
are-
the only
we are-
good. That's
we-
the only good Fantastic Four
We are,
movie
we
that's
are
ever been
puffing
made.
up Syndrome considering he's about to lose because
Are
the
you
other
serious?
half of this is the
I mean, the
Willem
Green Goblin.
Dafoe.
Green Goblin is one of the most iconic villains.
He is a
Ever.
villain.
Off
what-
air, we were just talking about how good the end of Spider-Man is,
Oh
where
my
he gets
God.
killed by the glider.
Well, and I think his work in No Way Home, too, you gotta take that in consideration.
Really good.
The best thing about Green Goblin is you don't know if he's lying or not.
right, and you
I don't
know
think
you don't know who you're
Yeah,
getting.
I don't think at any point in that movie there was ever Norman Osborn. I think it was always the
Maybe.
Green Goblin in No Way Home. It was the long con he's playing, right? Like
Yeah, you were really on
Green
that.
Goblin is smart. Again, this is just another man with a plan. You can agree he was an evil capitalist, sure, but the toxins got in his brain and now he's all screwed
right,
up.
but he did that to himself.
Right.
Right. And Doc Ock, I mean, he did it to himself.
Green
too,
Goblin-
Still
but I
made him a
think-
villain though.
But
even
Green
though he
Goblin
did.
beat Spider-Man. He
Also,
beat him.
you could argue he was a villain even before the toxins. He was a capitalist.
I just said it.
Wow.
I just said
We're
it.
using-
Let's talk
we're using
about-
jokes. The chat is a little too heavy on Green Goblin for my liking.
John,
79,
we should-
John, you had
wow,
your moment.
okay.
Green Goblin.
I
If
think-
you put Syndrome against someone else, I have written papers on this that I was like, this is the hardest Disney villain that's not like Marvel Cinematic Universe or Star Wars.
Yes.
I'm like, this is a Disney movie that came out when we were kids, for kids, and it shows how he killed every superhero in that universe. That's insane.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Also, Green
Great
Goblin was a
Wong
villain
did it.
because even before he took the toxins, he was a captain.
Oh, thank you. That's a good
that's
point.
a good joke.
That's a good point.
Do you want to?
I'm glad someone made that
Should
point.
we even talk about this next matchup?
Well, real quick, I want to do before we go into the next matchups. I want to everybody shout out who didn't make this list, like your favorite that is not listed here, because there's a lot of really good ones, right? Even
Easy Poison Ivy,
pull up.
dude.
Ooh.
Let's remember that Poison Ivy is literally a terrorist.
I'm gonna do something we don't. I'm gonna do something we don't
Eco
normally
terrorist.
do. on the
we are.
program.
He's on my mug. I think in time we're gonna look back on Paul Dano's Riddler with a lot of esteem, right? Like, I think that's a good recent example.
Yeah, we should have put more like
You know,
human villains.
you got your Zemo, you got your
Baron Zemo is like,
Ultron.
I really like Baron Zemo. What he was able to do, he beat the Avengers, he destroyed them. Like
from the
he's a very clever dude. And then like when he's he pretends to be like good again to like get his way.
He's got a great dance.
Right, he's got a great dance.
Some of the people we didn't put on this list: Vulture, Namor, who's great, Loki, who kind of turns good. So
yeah, we had a
didn't
big debate
include
about
him.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of, which is probably the hardest, is so many in DC. So many villains in DC that everyone in DC is basically a villain, so it's hard to choose. But you chose the four tops. You chose the four tops.
I think like someone like Ra's al Ghul is like a great villain. Or even Talia al Ghul, right?
Yes.
They're both really good villains.
I really fuck
Scarecrow
with
is
Scarecrow.
I was gonna say
That
Scarecrow's
first
really
Batman
good.
begins.
Cillian
Scarecrow's
Murphy.
real good.
And again, if there are some popular villain names that you haven't heard yet, they might be coming up in our next bracket too. Should we move on to the round of 4?
Yeah, should we just?
Or sorry, round of 8.
I'm gonna choose Joker.
It's pretty easy.
Joker, Penguin.
Yeah, I think we gave the Penguin his due. Apologies to Bane, but I think Joker beats out Penguin.
Can you say it? Can you say it?
Penguin?
No, I'm the Joker, baby.
I'm the Joker, baby.
That's the Joker that we're
That's the
talking
Joker we're
Wait,
thinking
I'm
of.
taking this
Move on.
back. I'm
And we were doing the combined might of all Jokers. Good God, can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, hey. This one's tougher, and I know where Brandon is, but hey, Vader versus Palpatine, student versus master.
Where is he at?
I mean, you
He's
gotta
gonna
go.
choose
You gotta
Vader
go
every time.
Vader
Really?
is like the all-time best.
That
You've
is
got
true.
the
All-time
person
best.
who started it all, right? You created
He's
Vader.
not doing the dirty
That's
work.
true. That's true. That's true. He started it.
I will say when they faced off in the actual movie,
Yeah.
Vader came out on
Vader
top.
wins.
Now he did die almost
little
immediately
younger.
It
afterwards.
cost him
but-
everything.
Yeah.
He's a little younger, you know? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Vader is just so iconic. The look, the sound, the red
But
lightsaber,
so is Emperor
the
Palpatine.
fear.
He goes.
Yeah,
The
but no
lighting
one's
is
like,
pretty badass.
yeah,
That's
it's
villainy.
badass, I guess. But
I will
like,
just say, screen time, right? Like Palpatine is not a huge presence in those
Right.
films. He's an important presence. He's always looming. But
No, and you're right. I think Sheev has a worse story in the prequels than Anakin does. I'm less interested in Sheev than I am.
she
Obviously-
never says wizard. I'll say that much.
Obviously, the prequels are sort of just about Anakin in general, but
She loves sand. It gets everywhere. That's why she loves
it's his
it.
favorite. Yeah, I mean, I think Vader feels like the right choice here.
I'll go
even
with
though
whatever you guys
Palpatine,
want.
Vader.
They're both very
Palpatine
good.
is like the guy. He's the
right.
guy, and I think we're getting it more Palpatine, and that might put him into like, with the Mandalorian, it might put him into a different frame of reference.
Hey.
But
I wrote fan fiction about
Vader's
Vader
good.
that I said on this show, and it
true.
was a great fan
was.
fiction.
I will say, and this might be a hot take, I don't like the Vader that we've been getting. I don't love the Vader in Rogue One. I know people love that scene in the
What?
hallway, which is a good scene.
what don't you love about it?
I just think he's like a little too like.
Badass.
No.
Good at his job?
In Kenobi, I was like, you could be more Vader in this show.
I loved him in Kenobi.
He's
He
like-
took down that ship so nicely and swiftly. It was like, okay.
I don't know, but he got tricked by a dummy ship. He couldn't feel the fucking presence of any of the life forms
he
on
still
that
took
ship.
it down.
He's got a lot going on.
I
He's
was
got a lot
like,
He
come
was
going
on,
on.
snapping
Vader,
all the
you're
necks of the
Vader.
people on the. He was too busy. He was busy.
Yeah, he's got stuff to do. He's got emails to answer.
I'm burned. I'm burned by Kenobi.
I love Vader, but I do love Palpatine. Good job.
Palpatine. Okay.
Okay, so next, a little hard one maybe, depending
Yeah.
on where you sway. Wanda and Thanos.
Now you could argue that Wanda would kick Thanos'
Oh,
ass.
100.
Chance.
Easy.
Yeah.
She was doing great. She was holding up her own when she
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
fighting in Endgame and the first one.
I think you could say like Wanda has the power set to be a bigger villain than Thanos.
100.
But Thanos accomplished more in his
Yes.
time in the MCU as a
100.
villain.
I agree with that.
Right.
And I think it's gonna be hard to give this to Wanda from my
I
perspective.
agree with that.
Yeah. I see what you're saying there. He did a good villainous thing. She's still learning the ropes. She's kind
Give
of
her some time.
villainy on the fly. We got to see like her planning as a villain in Multiverse of Madness.
Yes. Yeah.
Little two-face action. Oh, I'm actually good. Just kidding. I'm bad. I'm the one behind all this. Great stuff. Love to see it.
She's a bad liar.
A lot of potential.
I'll also say my henchman corollary. I mean, Corvus Glaive. Come on. But more importantly,
your henchman.
Nebula, Gamora at different points, right? Like he's got a good squad underneath him.
Ship.
You gotta go Thanos.
He's got nameless henchmen. It's all good.
We're getting to a good final four here.
Yeah.
It's so nerve-wracking because I was like, if we went with Palpatine, I think it would be a little bit easier. But since we went with Vader, I'm like, ooh. I don't know.
Now we have Magneto versus Green Goblin here in the miscellaneous region.
Boy,
My heart is with Magneto.
I think you're right. Yeah.
This is wild.
We might need to go to the chat because this one feels really tight. Magneto or Green Goblin? I'm kind of leaning Magneto too.
We had, to be fair, or maybe this is just me. We had more time with Magneto with a bunch of different properties, so that's why I see more of him destroying people easier than Green Goblins did. Green Goblin. Sorry.
Green Goblin. Jesus.
My mom told me she watched the show recently, and I was concerned. I think here's my thing with Green Goblin.
Why do you have to make it dirty, John? It could have just
Green Gobbles. I don't know.
Could just be a turkey.
Well, all right.
Gobble.
Green Goblin was like the first time I saw a villain be truly unhinged.
Yeah.
And Magneto is a villain on the other side of the spectrum. Very
more
calculated, composed, planning.
Regal.
Yeah.
Green Goblin's not convincing anyone to join his cause, right? He's a maniac. He's pooping in the corner. He's eating dead birds. Like he's a weirdo, right?
When did he eat a single bird?
They cut it out. Check the.
You get a classically trained actor like Ian McKellen, right, to portray Magneto in this kind of regal, almost Shakespearean.
Dafoe's pretty classically
trained. Of course. But the way Ian McKellen plays Magneto is like as like a Shakespearean character almost, right?
He convinces people to join his side. He wins you over.
I think being able to do that makes you a really good villain. Being able to like be like, hey, don't you want this kind of life instead? And Green Goblin was a little.
Plus, he can use his abilities to stop your blood flow for a second, causing extreme pain, just to remind you who's in charge.
My sort of like my concession for Magneto a little bit is that him and Professor X was such a good, not to be too literal, but like such a good chess match between those two characters for so long. Wow, this is crazy.
That's insane.
Personally, for me, it's Green Goblin. He's in my nightmares, and when I was a kid, like this was the prototype of a villain.
That's interesting, because as a child, I was way more afraid of Magneto.
Yeah,
and the worst thing about Green Goblin, before he even took the serum, he was a capitalist.
Jeez Louise.
I'm sorry, you're losing your argument only because of Zach. And I feel so bad. I'm so sorry.
I appreciate chat right now for turning villain against John and destroying all his picks. That's my favorite thing.
I want to see Green Goblin eat a bird on the street. Can someone draw that for us?
This is what is shaping up to be. I think a lot of these picks have been maybe a little easy. It's going to be a slobber knocker here in the final.
This one is so Joker, Vader, and Magneto are so confused. Like I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I can't choose between Vader
real
and
quick,
Magneto.
before we get to the final four, we want to shout out a couple of folks that have helped us bring this episode to you. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2023, or are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for your phone bill? What are you, a capitalist?
That doesn't make sense.
I was going to make it anyway.
Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save this year. Actually, we're all capitalists and we want to save money. That's why we switched to Mint Mobile.
There you go.
Right.
Hey, they sell premium wireless service online only, so they don't got to pay for stores and stuff like that. It saves them money. They pass those savings on to you. Plans starting at just $15 a month. You can save even more. You got a great service. You can keep your phone. I'm a little discombobulated. My joke hits so hard. It scrambled my own brain.
Keep your phone. Keep your number.
That's
keep
right.
your contacts.
That's
all the
right.
things you love to do.
All the things. We have multiple people on staff that have switched to Mint Mobile. Love the service. Save a lot of money every month. And, are still have their phone, do everything they need to do. They just pay a lot less for it. They've got the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Switch easily in minutes with eSIM. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, you get the plan shipped to your door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/breakroom. That's mintmobile.com/breakroom. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/breakroom.
Whoa.
And
Amazing.
Our friends at TurboTax. Go to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Meet with an expert who'll do them for you. That sounds better. TurboTax experts can relieve you from the stress of taxes and file for you so you can do not taxes, do something else. Show your eyes things that are not taxes. Unpack a moving box of not taxes. Taste not taxes. Sing not taxes a lullaby. Hope not taxes sleeps through the night. Grab a saddle and ride not taxes into the sunset. Oh. With TurboTax, an expert will do your taxes from start to finish, ensuring your taxes are done right, guaranteed. So you can relax. Feels good to be done with your taxes, doesn't it? It does. Come to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Visit TurboTax.com to learn more. Intuit TurboTax. Full service products only. Video meeting while expert does your taxes required. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Thank you to both those companies for helping us bring the Breakroom to you. Now, that juicy final four.
Yeah. Let's do
I
it.
forget that this is specifically Heath Ledger Joker, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
that's where I keep forgetting.
Yes.
Joker versus Thanos.
I think you gotta go with
Joker
Thanos,
versus
right?
Thanos. Oh my God.
This could be the final, by the way. This is an early matchup.
It's
I feel
tough.
Like for these
It's not
two.
fair
It's tough.
because
Joker
he's like a
gets-
human.
Yes, Joker gets one movie, but in the argument, right, Joker
Kinda
does
changed.
win. He wins in that movie because in the end, the Dark Knight Batman is turned into the villain, as we all know, that lovely speech at the end. But he gets his point across, and he does it. He's not a capitalist, okay? Maybe that makes him a
That's
hero.
true. He's an anarchist.
He burns the money. He shows that the people of Gotham are actually good in the end because they don't blow each other up on the ferries. He brings the city together.
Get out of here.
Do you think because of
He's a big guy.
that, because
He's a
his
good guy.
yeah, do you think because Thanos' motive is like not as hard as Joker's, Joker would be a better villain because he's just like hardcore? Like Thanos is also hardcore, but you don't see him like straight up trying to set a
Joker
building
is
on
like
fire.
a microcosm, right? He's
Yeah.
not trying to take over the world or the universe, just this little
right.
thing. Thanos is also not trying to take over. He's just
Yeah.
trying to set things right and go retire.
One thing I like to, I'm going to lean Joker here, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I like, as in that portrayal of the Joker, he was not given a coherent backstory. There's so many mysteries and dark spots there. He doesn't fully explain himself and his
or
motives.
how he
right?
got his scars.
That's right, and it's purposeful.
does explain it.
It's purposeful to keep him scarier,
Three
to keep him
different ways.
more mysterious, right? All this kind of stuff. Whereas Thanos, again, great portrayal, but because of all the backstory, we flash back to Titan and we see
Yeah.
it, all this kind of stuff. We understand him so much. It's all kind of explained and laid out in a really logical way. I love the illogic, the insanity of Joker.
Now, there is a moment where every day Heath Ledger Joker is going into the bathroom and putting on the makeup and being like, oh, I screwed that up, wiping it off. That's a little silly when you start thinking about it.
I mean, he has
was
to
thinking about
sew.
that.
He has to sew into his purple
He's
coat.
gotta sew the grenades in.
Grenades. I mean,
to
there's-
please-
He's
doing
got
a lot of
someone for
prep
that. He's
work.
got all the guys with the masks.
doing a lot of prep work.
To play devil's advocate, but I do
Oh.
agree with your Joker. I do believe with your Joker. I agree with it too. Thanos did steal children. Thanos did steal children and
good
destroy
point.
planets.
So did Gore the God Butcher.
But he's not on this list. But Thanos, I like the villainy aspect of like, I'm going to destroy this planet, but I'm going to take this one individual child, and I'm going to force my other child to fight them and then take pieces of her body apart.
Yes.
and
It's pretty
re-put them
messed
back.
up.
Yes.
It's pretty messed up. I think that the Joker, and you can maybe make this argument for Thanos too. The Joker changed comic book movies forever.
Sure.
And changed movies forever. And like, if you take the Joker out of that movie, it's like you look at Batman Begins and you look at The Dark Knight Rises, and those two movies are fine. But like, what makes The Dark Knight one of the best comic book movies of all time, if not one of the best movies of all time, is Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker.
agree.
It's
I
like
agree.
it's insane.
because I think there's not a wrong pick here. These are two really
Yeah.
good candidates. Brandon?
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh. I think I would go Thanos.
Ooh, okay. Jessica?
To play devil's advocate, I love Joker, but I'm going Thanos.
What?
He
John?
tear apart his daughter.
I gotta say Joker. He got me into this genre.
Yeah.
Joker
I don't
gang.
know.
Joker gang.
And if we go to the
And
audience,
if I had to delete one of those movies,
Right.
I would probably delete.
Who's asking you to
Endgame.
delete a movie,
I'd
John?
probably say
Get out of
goodbye to
here.
Endgame.
no one's
Okay,
telling
I
you
so
want
I
to
think-
keep The Dark Knight.
I think
love
it's a
Endgame so
2-2
much.
split, but with the audience
Go audience
leaning
pick.
Joker, Joker moves on to the
right.
championship
I'm fine
round.
with
That's
that.
fair.
I love
That's
it.
fair.
I like both of them. They
Yes.
both are evil in their great ways.
Again,
Joker put a
Thanos
pencil
suck.
through someone's head.
Not a bad
magic
pick.
trick.
Okay, in the other
does it
half
stop
of the
doing that?
bracket, in more of our kind of evil leader bracket here.
Oh, yeah.
Vader versus Magneto.
Now, here's the deal.
It's not easy.
I've got Magneto on my lock screen, dog. I stand Magneto. Great. Love his work. Love what he does. Appreciate the white hair. It's all great. Love the helmet. Love the costume. Everything's great. Vader is a better villain than Magneto. Vader's so good as a villain. He's the prototype villain. He changed villains.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
He's great.
I got to go Vader on this.
My only
I
knock
got to.
against Vader is that there's been so much Vader that it's kind of watered him down a
Sure.
Not that there's not been a lot of bad Magneto too, but
Also, no, keep going.
no, that's sort of.
I agree with you.
You know, there's some
completely.
bad Vader out there.
Also, not to be that person, but the Vader at Disneyland is kind of stupid.
Well, that's Disneyland's
We're
We're
fault.
counting it. No, I'm joking.
Have you seen the Kang at Disneyland? I appreciate the work you're doing, sir, but
Did you see
it
the
ain't that.
Moana?
It
Did you
ain't
see the
that.
Moana? We'll get into it.
Oh, speaking of villains we left off of this list, Moana.
Whoa!
I'll go with the mask because I can't choose. I love it's so disgusting how in love I am with Magneto.
What did the chat
He's my
say?
favorite villain.
I'm gonna guess they're gonna lean heavy Vader, right?
Yeah,
Even,
I think
even
so.
though we might be.
I was shocked they picked Magneto over Green Goblin, so they might love a little Magneto.
I was not surprised about that.
now, real quick.
I'm
If-
skewed.
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
heavy,
running
pretty
away
heavy.
with
Okay.
it,
I mean,
Vader.
Vader's like all-time greatest villain.
Now,
I
let
get
me
it, I get
real
it.
quick ask: would anybody's vote be different if it were Michael Fassbender's Magneto? No.
Absolutely not.
Oh, I was including it.
I mean, it was good to see some of the work he did.
I love
I love that Magneto, going around the world, finding Nazis, killing them. Slowly moving that coin through that man's brain was...
Yeah,
That's a Magneto move
Also,
right there.
Michael Fassbender in First Class choking. What's her name?
Are you thinking of
with
Shame
the-
or are you thinking of First
No,
Class?
I was gonna say.
No, the Crystal. What's her name?
Emma
January.
Frost?
Yeah, Emma
Yeah,
Frost.
yeah.
Oh,
I was like,
January
that was
Jones?
insane. They were like, please
Yeah.
stop, and he was like, I'm gonna.
Well,
make
in
it
First
slower.
Class does a great job of showing like why Magneto's right, and like he's like, no, these humans need to be taught a lesson. They're never
He
gonna
said,
let it go.
were you thinking of Shame? How
Now
dare
we've
you?
only got a few more minutes. Should we pick the winner now, or move on to
I
our
like
sort of?
waiting it till the end.
You want to wait till the
You wanna
end?
wait
and
till
move on
after
to
Okay.
the other bracket?
Why don't we
Okay.
zip through this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're moving on to a new bracket. We're going to pick our villain at the end. Reminder, that's Vader versus the Joker, which, I mean, if you probably Googled, like, best villains of all time, those are probably your one and your two.
Yeah, they've had multiple iterations.
Real quick, I want to call out a couple super chats.
Oh, thank you.
Just because this one stuck out. Quentin wrote in Anne of Green Goblins.
Oh, God.
I love
Read
that
it.
movie.
Everyone read that
I
list,
love
didn't
it.
Clinton, you
Trash
dog.
Bag
It's the
put
Green
in
Goblin.
Thanos was right. Hey, you're not the first to say that. And then Jamie Riley saying, Vader because I'm obsessed with my galaxy far, far away. Love you all so much for these fun times. Hey,
Yeah.
love you right back,
It's
Jamie
all that
Riley.
espresso. I
And
took.
if you want this in person, we're going to be at WonderCon on Friday. We won't do a Breakroom show on Friday. We're all going to be in Anaheim, so we won't be doing this on Friday. But if you missed your Breakroom and you're in the area, come see us. Come say
Yeah.
hi.
And
Absolutely.
Heim of Green Goblins. Okay. keep
Okay, let's rock and roll. This is the most underused villains of all time. People who maybe we wanted a little bit more of, or maybe we love them in the comics and they didn't quite translate to the screen in the way we would have liked. And this is sort of we're gonna also do the same thing where we're gonna kind of pick which iteration we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
Right,
this
okay.
is DCEU Zod versus
okay.
DCEU Lex Luthor.
This
Oh,
is
okay.
Michael Shannon versus
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, well, is this fair to tell me if this is fair to say? I didn't
Anything's
really
fair.
want more of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, but I do think I didn't get enough of Michael Shannon as Zod.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, look.
They kind of brought him back in Batman versus Superman.
Well, and they're bringing it
Exactly.
back
When
in
they're
the
bringing him
Flash.
back in
Yeah,
Flash.
yeah.
That's what I'm excited. I'm excited for
Yeah.
him in
So, hey.
Flash. That's why I'm happy.
I mean, it
I
seems
think-
like the creatives at Warner Brothers are like, this is the most one of our
Yeah.
most underused.
I think you gotta go Zod.
I like
yeah.
Zod.
Right?
You know what I'll say? I know that the casting of Jesse Eisenberg
Yeah.
was controversial when
Right.
it happened. I saw a version of him that was great in that role, and we didn't get it, which is why he's on this list.
There's a little bit more social network.
Yeah, right.
maybe?
Like I
Yeah.
saw what they were going for, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
But I think you got to move Zod on.
Yeah, I like Zod. I like
You
Good
got,
call.
you know, and
Good call.
I don't.
Zod
Who
on?
said it on our call this morning that like, you know, he forced Superman to do the one thing that Superman doesn't do because they were done with that character, but it was just like we didn't need to be done with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Great stuff.
Does someone else want to continue, or should I go down the list?
I can do this one.
Yeah.
I can do the Marvel one.
Yeah, you
This
do it.
one, very passionate about Ultron, sexy ass robot Ultron,
This is
or
hard.
Taskmaster.
This is
Right.
hard.
Now, you guys know I love Taskmaster. I have brought it up a million times because Taskmaster is one of the greatest in the comic books and is meant to go against Daredevil time and time again and kick their ass and work. And this is how Echo got her ability to fight, was watching Taskmaster and Daredevil fight all the time. Taskmaster wasn't given the opportunity I needed in Black Widow.
And I think the most-
same with Ultron in Age of Ultron.
We got more Ultron in What If, who wasn't really the
true.
Ultron that we
No,
know.
it's more
'cause
the
he was,
Vision Ultron. Yeah.
There are rumors that Ultron might be coming back. In
Sure.
We
It's
know,
not that we know
Taskmaster's coming back in Thunderbolts.
But
I think
Taskmaster has
Ultron-
potentially been redeemed. Had
Sure,
a
might
face
be-
turn at the end.
And is going to be in Thunderbolts for sure.
There'll be a good / bad guy.
I also think Ultron made more of an impact than Taskmaster could possibly do. That's why I think Ultron should be the one that comes back.
I agree. Also, Ultron, definitely creepier.
Yeah.
Definitely eviler.
It's kind of hot.
Here's what I'll say.
What
I
the
like
fuck?
I like Ultron as a character.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I think they missed the opportunity in the film to really showcase the like changing bodies. Like they kept changing bodies, but it looks so
They looked
similar
very
each
similar.
time. Like final form wasn't that much different than everything else we had seen. But here, I kind of lean Taskmaster on this one because like
Go ahead, baby.
Ultron is kind of
Go ahead,
like
baby.
big capital V villain, like always trying to take over the world, always trying to make these bots, can make all the things as a machine, as AI.
Yeah,
It's
we
kind of
didn't
one
get any
note
of
to
that.
me. I kind of like what Taskmaster has
no,
here, where it's like
Taskmaster-
Taskmaster can slip in and out.
No,
of, like,
Taskmaster
villainy.
has no agency. She's a mind-controlled
In this
character.
version we've been given.
Well, and so that's
That's
my
why
point
she's-
for Ultron, is that
Okay.
Taskmaster is going to be impossible, in my opinion, to redeem in the MCU. Whereas Ultron, we could get more of
could get a
Ultron and be
redemption?
fucking hyped
Okay.
for Ultron.
James Spader doesn't even have to hit the gym. Just
No.
got to show up in the VO booth. Okay.
I don't even need
That's
James
why
Spader,
he's
to be
so
honest
hot.
with you.
Oh, no. I wanted to be James Spader.
Okay.
I can't
Ultron.
believe you shamed me in front
Ultron
of
moving on?
everyone who's live.
Ultron moving on.
My pen doesn't
Okay. In the over in the Star Wars bracket, Kylo Ren versus Snoke.
Can we loop in the Knights of Ren under Kylo Ren?
No.
Kind of.
Wait, why can't we?
'Cause
We've
that's
been
part
bringing
of his
Vader as
story.
kind of people, right?
Yes, but I think it's got to be Snoke though. We got 3 movies of Kylo
hard.
Ren.
Yeah,
It's hard.
I mean, when in that first movie, when they're like showing Snoke as a hologram, and it's like a huge hologram, and you're
He's
like,
15
oh,
feet
why didn't
tall.
everyone
So
think to do this
cool.
before? Like that was like a fun reveal. But yeah, it never amounted to much with
He did
Snoke.
unceremoniously get killed
Yeah.
off in
It's-
The Last Jedi, only to be... Oh, no. Was it The Rise of Skywalker he dies in?
Yes.
No, he dies in The Last Jedi in the throne room when the slice and the blade and the.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then in the Rise of Skywalker, it's Palpatine.
Well,
saying
and
he
that's
was
kind of the knock against Snoke I would give here is that Snoke's whole purpose is to be a patsy that Palpatine is
Transitionary,
using to
yeah.
like kind of diffuse what he's doing over on the side. He's like, oh, they'll think he's the new bad guy when I'm still the bad guy. She.
Okay.
And I will say, right, the Mandalorian again is going to give a little bit more juice
Sure.
to Snoke than Kylo Ren. I expect, right? We're getting some
Yeah,
of that.
I feel like I
backstory
got
for
enough Kylo Ren.
I think when it comes to wasted time, I got enough.
Snoke. Yeah, I think like
we never
one-
got to see Snoke shirtless, which I think was a miss.
You know what?
calling
Okay,
it-
now I'm
he's
going
right.
back to
And
Kylo
we're calling
Ren.
this underused.
Yeah.
And I think Kylo did get used. He had more potential, maybe.
Yeah.
But it didn't ever get
Yeah,
paid
maybe
off.
it could be underused, could be done dirty,
Mine's
could be another way to phrase this. And then our final matchup here, two different Marvel villains.
Dude.
Galactus. Now this is the only
Cloud
film Galactus.
Galactus.
Cloud Galactus from Fantastic Four stick. And
No, that's a
No,
different one.
it's from Fantastic Four: The
sorry.
Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Rise of Silver Surfer, apologies. Doom was in Fantastic Four stick.
Which is also
Yeah, you could argue.
we almost put him
And
on.
then this is this
This is
This is Topher Grace.
Topher Grace
Grace.
Venom.
Oh, so sorry. I didn't mean to
Topher
laugh
Grace
like
Venom,
that.
who is
I didn't mean to
the
laugh like
Grace.
that.
Spider-Man
11th
3.
was the 11th villain in that
Yeah.
movie.
Honestly, this is a good matchup because he was very wasted in that movie. Topher
Yeah.
Grace's Venom. I didn't get anything from that,
Right.
dude. And I rewatched it recently, and I was like, "Come on, Topher!"
And really,
kinda
he's only Venom in the third act,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because-
not a long time
Because
as villain.
Toby has the
That's
symbiote suit
interesting.
For a while.
That's true.
Now, and I'm kind of a defender of Cloud Galactus because I think this was a smart idea for the movie to be like, it's early 2000s. We're gonna have a hard time getting people to wrap their heads around a man in space, like a giant man in space consuming planets. And you know, comic books movies were still kind of transitioning out of the like X-Men, we all wear black leather, comic books are kind of silly, we're not gonna wear the costumes, into like what, Batman Begins with bring, where it's like, what if these existed in our world? And This was like a smart move to make Galactus a cloud conceptually. I think it's very smart.
Yeah.
Now for comic book fans, what a letdown, right?
Yeah,
we want to see the man in space eating planets. So yes, I think highly underutilized.
Just because Galactus is like not a great iteration in that film, and we've had so many Marvel films up until this point,
Right.
and
They're all afraid to do Galactus,
except for like a little bit of a wink and a nod in that episode of What If. I'm leaning Galactus only because you could see a world where there was a Spider-Man 4 and there was a Topher.
Let's call it. We also Venom got his redemption.
I just want to say because I was going Venom. I'm basing this off of not what I want, but what I think in the movie they didn't get enough of, and I think that's why I was going Venom.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I clearly want Galactus. I want Galactus so damn bad.
Right.
But I'm like, I didn't get Venom until like the third act, which is very true.
Yeah.
But the masses Galactus.
Okay, and then we'll kind of plow through these because we want to get back to our main bracket here.
I think this one's easy.
Zod versus Ultron.
Ultron.
Ultron,
through
baby.
That's
Ultron,
right.
right?
That's right. Send your
Ultron.
boy. And then Snoke or Galactus? Cloud Galactus.
That's interesting.
I have my pick.
What's your pick?
My pick is Snoke.
I
think they set him up.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like The Force Awakens. I kind of enjoyed all of the character work that they did in that movie. I thought all of the characters that were introduced in that film were really good. Maybe you say that, Leia, Luke wasn't really in the movie, and Han were a little done dirty, but all the new characters I thought were great. I thought they set up some really cool villains, and it just didn't work for the rest of the movies.
I agree.
So for me, I like Snoke.
I agree with you, Snoke.
Yeah, I'm fine
I'll
with
go
it.
Snoke.
Snoke too.
Also, I don't think anybody has that strong of feelings about anything from
you have to
Rise of
push
Silver
it down.
Surfer.
Yeah.
Dumb as hell.
Okay, and then the final in our done dirty, most underused villains of all time bracket: Ultron or Snoke.
I don't know. Is it still Snoke?
I think
It sucks because I don't really have
I still
that-
think it's Ultron because
Yeah.
Ultron shouldn't
Yeah.
have been defeated so easily.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think now
He's
Marvel
doing that.
knows, we can, like a Thanos, right? You can stretch it out over multiple stories.
I don't have
You don't have to kill him off right away.
I don't have much of a concept on Snoke too much because I only saw him a little bit. Not that big on Star Wars, I'm sorry guys. But Ultron also is like such a big part of Secret Wars, and we kind of got rid of him.
And I think too, like Ultron has this weird history because we thought we were getting one version of him from the Age of Ultron trailers,
Yeah.
and we thought we were gonna get like an Age of Ultron, and we got like a couple minutes.
Right.
And so
Hardly an
I think,
age.
I think What If kind of showed you what an Ultron could
Yeah.
do, and obviously if you read the comics, it's like Ultron is like always the
head
fucking
honcho,
thorn in
baby.
the Avengers side. I think
Yeah.
Ultron is the
He
winner.
killed
Ultron.
Quicksilver.
Plus-
We'll give him that.
plus-
Snoke would
Any-
be happy to be up
He didn't
against
kill
him.
Quicksilver.
Well, through his machinations.
Oh, was it in one of the
Any-
centuries?
Yeah.
Anybody that's half as scared of ChatGPT as I am, or Midjourney, should be scared of Ultron. That is our top done dirty
They even
villain.
chose
Yep, the
Ultron.
chat agreed,
Okay.
running away with it. 79% voting Ultron. Okay, back to our main bracket, and this might be a really tough call.
Oof.
Heath Ledger's Joker versus Darth Vader.
I'm gonna say some dumb shit in this round.
You're allowed to. You're valid.
Wait, you're just starting to say dumb shit?
Damn.
Damn. Got him.
Man.
Got it.
You know,
this
I
knife away from me.
I did not grow up with Star Wars like a lot of people at this table did. My parents were not. My dad was a Star Trek person.
Oh.
My mom didn't really give a shit.
She was Flash Gordon or die.
That's right.
I love Flash Gordon.
Shout out
The
Ming the
Joker
Merciless.
and watching The Dark Knight is one of the things that made me want to get into filmmaking. I think what a great character.
But that aside, like villainy.
I'm really partial to the Joker. That's me personally. I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to swear.
That's
You're right, but I mean, Brandon's right. Like Vader is Satan.
I'll
Right?
also say I love that
I
these.
thought Emperor Palpatine was Satan.
I love that these two are in the championship because they're such different characters, obviously from totally different franchises. I also love, right, like Joker is a character like there's been different bodies under that hood, different voices, all this kind of stuff. It can be portrayed very differently. It's like kind of like it's like the Jolly Green Giant or Santa Claus or whatever. Whereas we're saying Heath Ledger's Joker is like a singular performance.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right, and there's been your Jared Leto's, your Jack Nicholson's. Like, there's been a lot of Jokers, right? But we're picking this one specifically. So I like that they're so different in that way.
If I had to choose, like John, I think I grew up. Joker was my number one. I grew up with that. That's my baby. But I'm like, yeah, Vader. That aside, that's what I'm saying. Put aside is like. He doesn't care, and if they had to go up in an actual battle, do you know how quick Vader would just take out
sure.
Not
it's not a physical fight.
It's not a physical fight, but I'm like, Joker likes to set up, do this long spiel before he does anything, and that is villainy. They love to do their little monologue, but I like that Vader's like, I'm not gonna talk, I'm just gonna fucking kill you. And he doesn't have any remorse about killing anyone. And then their whole universe is about the dark side and the light side. It's like, once you have too much of this, you got too much of that. And I think it's into a level of like being an ultimate like concrete villain than Joker's does. But I love Joker, but I think I'm gonna lean Vader.
Well, and Vader has that thing that I was talking about with Syndrome, which is this really interesting relationship with the hero of that movie. You know, he's Luke's father. He also has a really interesting relationship with Palpatine, being like someone who gaslit him for so long. Like, he has more interesting relationships with the other characters in those movies than the Joker does, you could argue, even though the Joker obviously like does a lot of personal shit to Bruce Wayne.
It's like, it's great that they have differences, but it's not fair because it's like you're choosing between DC and Star Wars.
Well, and you can take every Joker and lump them all together and put them all up against every iteration of Vader we've seen. I still think Vader runs away with that. Vader killed a bunch of kids.
A cancer.
Now maybe there were kids in
killed a
that
bunch of
hospital.
kids.
That's true. That's true.
Anakin.
That's true.
No, that was Vader at that point. Anakin was dead. Anakin was dead.
Here, let's see. Ooh, the chat.
Wow.
55-44, Darth Vader. I will say, I will go along with the consensus here and the chat. Again, as somebody who likes ambiguity in my presentation, we spent 3 prequel movies getting the backstory for Vader. We have technically spent more screen time with Vader than anybody else, probably than the combined total of all these other villains.
That's true.
That's too much for me. I now know too much about that guy. He's lost any scariness, any potential for true evil, and that's why I'm still a Heath Ledger Joker stan, but you can't knock how iconic, how important he is in both that film franchise and in just our world.
So let me get this right. You're saying Joker?
Yes.
I'm saying Joker. You're saying Vader. You're saying Vader.
I say Vader all the way.
So the chat determines
it's Vader.
It's Vader. 55% to 44.
Ultron and Vader. Those are two good villains. Those are two good villains.
When we made this list, I said Vader should not have been on it because he's too good. He's too good of a villain.
Who else
If you make that argument, then the Joker wins, and
who else would have been for?
Yeah.
Who else would have been for Star Wars? You know, you can't not put Vader on. The list.
You put General Grievous in there, obviously.
Oh, I love General Grievous. I would have chosen him immediately. He has 2 hearts. Or a human heart.
No, you have to include Vader when it comes to a list of villains.
It would be
Just like you have to put Joker.
Again, it's too good. It's too good. It's not fair to put him on the list.
You could have put the Voodoo Man from Princess of the Frog.
Hey, I still think Syndrome is.
Come back next week when we do all-time Disney animation.
Oh, baby, don't get me started.
Maleficent makes it to the finish.
Jafar,
don't get me started.
Thank you guys so much for watching the Breakroom.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for making the list, John.
Yeah, come back on Thursday. We'll be doing top heroes.
I think we're just going to be doing best comic book movies of all time.
Okay,
stop.
Well,
because we don't. So tomorrow tune in a little earlier than normal. We're going to put up an episode of WikiLeaks.
Yeah,
Eric
check out
Ross,
The Mandalorian tonight.
Tommy Bechtold, maybe a special guest. Not sure. We got to book that person. And then we won't have a show on Friday. So Thursday's our last kind of Breakroom show. We're going to kind of cap it off. I know.
Could you technically put Watchmen on that list? Because it's a TV series.
Ooh, no, there was a Watchmen comic book movie.
There was a movie.
One of the most accurate comic book page-to-screen movies ever made.
Is it kind of like putting Vader on this list? Is it even worth putting Jonah Hex on that list? Come back Thursday and find out, everybody.
R.I.P.D. R.I.P.D. making the list.
Blade Trinity. Thank you so much for watching. Again, we hope to see you in Anaheim if you're going to be at WonderCon. Otherwise, we hope to see you back here on the Breakroom.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like the stream. Latest, gators.
Bye, everybody.
Auf Wiedersehen.